Hey Drew, how are you doing?
Hey, hi. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
That's very, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm sorry. It's like I don't know what the setting in Zoom is for um being like for some reason it doesn't make a noise when a person enters the waiting room. And at least on uh my options and so it's like I didn't hear you enter the waiting room.
Okay, no issues.
No, it's just annoying 'cause it's like it's just it's, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna scroll through here and see webinar chat. Good God. And meeting calendar, other. I just took off all the security settings because we did it because we got spammed on a Chaos Africa call. And I just took off all the security settings and we'll see if people discover us again. Um,
Oh,
because that's why the waiting room exists, because we had like 50 people just like come in because somebody tweeted it, and then apparently there's 50 obnoxious humans on the earth that decided to join our meeting.
God. That's
Shit show. So it looks, I don't know, it looks, I mean, okay, it's been a while, like months, but it looks like it's working. It for the OSSF scorecard, but it's putting the data in the wrong place, like we talked about. And so I think what we probably should do is like lock into a version and not, because right now it's just auto updating the latest version, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that's probably, that's where that's the root cause of this issue. Um, and so I think if I can share my screen here, I'm gonna open up. And there's also a new version of Augur coming out, like a major new version, which is going to use Celery and Redis. It's pretty cool. Like, and it's collecting. It takes about 15% of the time to collect 10,000 repos as the old version of Augur did, just because the queuing is so much more efficient.
Wow, that's
It's crazy, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's just crazy. I think Celery does a lot. It's I haven't unpacked all of the reasons for this. Okay. I don't know why I can't seem to open up. Man, I am having the hardest time opening things today. All
I
right.
I, I mean, doesn't like some workers of Augur take like a long time collecting data and salary has a timer?
Yeah. So what celery does, all right, is it's a message queuing system and it's persisted in Redis. And whereas at the housekeeper, we would be sending a job to the broker and the broker would accumulate some small amount, but then we would just sort of proceed slowly through. That's one place where we sped it up by just throwing it on a queue. There's no wait time. It's like once we've put it on the queue, it just picks up the next task and goes. The second thing is we're using a Limbic, which gives us database item potency. The other thing it does is instead of using Psycop G2 bin or the executable version of it, or native Postgres drivers, we're actually able to do something called upsert. I don't know if you've heard of this. Have you heard of upsert?
No.
So Alembic enables you to say, so I don't know if, when you get to a very large database, updates are very expensive. And upsert basically only changes the fields that need to be changed. Instead of update, where often it's less precise, and it also is more efficient for the database engine, and it avoids database errors if for some reason something tries to insert a duplicate. So that fixes a lot of things. And then the third thing that we're doing is all of the worker architecture. Like, we've taken all of the things that call GitHub and we've put them in one worker, and all the things that call GitLab and put them in one worker. And we've streamlined the logic so that it's not going, like, it does sort of go sequentially from like events to pull requests to comments to events, but it happens a lot faster and a lot more robustly. And all of the GitHub things happen at the same time with the same worker. So they're not competing for resources with each other either. They're like using the same key management instance, as it were. So, and then John, I don't know if you've ever met John, but he's building a front end for administering Augur, which is pretty freaking cool.
Oh, I thought he built one because
Oh, he did, but this is a step beyond. Let's see here. Hang on a second. Hang on. I'm going to show you. I think I can show you. All right, sorry.
like, are you like sharing something? Because I
No,
cannot see.
I'm not. I was trying to get this interface started. Do you have a big screen or a laptop?
I'm currently on my laptop, but
Okay. I'm trying to, let me just get this started. Oops. And then it's 10 seconds now. Or maybe not more than that. Okay, I installed Docker. This is so frustrating. What is going on here? All right, I don't know if I can show it to you from this computer or not, because oh, I can. Okay. Well, it's not it, actually. That's something else. God damn it. I'm sorry, Drew. So, okay, that's exciting. Let me step to the things that we need to talk about, which are, how hard do you think it is? Like, I think it's pretty easy. I don't have time to do it myself. I'm hoping you can help get us to the stage where OSSF scorecard is consistent. And what I would suggest, I mean, I don't know if you have any ideas. I saw that you've got a branch started, right?
yeah.
So you've done something, but actually am unclear what it was that you've done.
So like I had like the branch started for the Libier worker, uh,
Yeah.
but the thing is, my facade did not work. So it never cloned any repo, so I couldn't test it. So it's still on the draft phase, the PR, and for the scorecard part,
So
I
you
couldn't.
couldn't clone any repos?
No, so that's
Um,
why I could never.
have you tried reinstalling and using a different directory for the repos?
Yeah, I did like try a bunch of different stuff.
Hi, Ruth.
Hey, Root.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Sean. Did
Hey.
it start by one? Did it start now or an hour ago?
No, it just started. Drew and I are having a meeting.
Oh, okay.
Um, so if like um, so you're having a trouble installing the main branch and getting it to collect facade?
Yep, and I think that was actually uh pretty consistently not working for me because I'm trying that from like past several months, I guess. I tried keep pulling like the main and merging to my branch and keep doing that, but I don't think it worked. And about the scorecard, I could not like replicate that issue with the
Yeah. Do
because
you
it was
have
like working sorry.
do you have so there's two approaches I think we could take. One is that you and I could set up a longer period of time to actually troubleshoot it. The other thing you could do is, because are you doing this on my server or your computer?
This was on my computer.
Okay. I can't imagine it's like a fresh install. It's and a fresh database and a fresh virtual environment.
Yep.
Is your, I mean, I assume your internet's at like at least 30 megs down, right?
Yeah. So
None of that should be an issue. Like none of it should be an issue. So two things. One is, do you use Twitch or OBS or anything like that?
um I do not use them, but I can like
Do
if
you
you
have like
want.
a screen recorder?
Yeah, I have that Apple's QuickTime stuff.
I think honestly, I think probably the fastest way would be for you to screen record from beginning to end all of the steps. And then I could look at it and we could get together and fix it, because I haven't encountered the specific issue you're having. It sounds like the kind of weird issue that one gets when one has installed many different versions of Augur. Um, uh,
I do have like couple or more than two versions of Augur instances. So, but they have a different virtual environment and are like looking at different databases. So I don't think that should be an issue. But like
how are you loading the tables? Are you just using the 7 default tables?
uh, I'm not sure about that.
What are you using a local database and installing to a brand new local database every time, or are you doing something else?
Yep, I have a local database.
Okay.
I just create a new Postgres and just add that to the config.
Okay. I mean, all that sounds right. So if you are okay just creating a new instance, a new install with a new database, I think that would be probably, I think that, and then like doing a Twitch recording or whatever, some kind of recording, so I can see what's going on. Alternately, you could just schedule, we could schedule some time, but it would need to be like a 2 or 3 hour block of time probably to troubleshoot.
Okay.
That's entirely up to you.
Oh, that
Um,
that actually sounds good. Because I would really want Augur to be running on my machine.
all right. Well, then let's set that up for I can do it Sunday tomorrow morning. I can do it Monday morning after 8 my time. It's kind of up to you.
Sunday sounds good.
Okay. What do you have a time in mind?
Same time. What would it be right now for you? Like
Yeah,
7 a.m.
nighttime. Right, right time. This is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, hang on. I'm sorry. I'm trying to paste a SQL statement for you. And the only reason that I'm even bothering to do it is because like the 7 standard repos, looks like your file failed to upload. Like I guess Slack is having some kind of issue. Are you in our Discord group? I forget.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm on like the Discord.
All right. Hang on. Sorry, I don't know. Slack has just decided not to work for this particular moment in time. And so I am not as familiar with Discord as I am with Slack.
Wait, I'll just send you a hi message. Oh,
No, I gotcha.
okay.
Slack stopped responding. Reload. No kidding, Slack stopped responding. Thanks for sharing. Slack is still basically not responding. I don't know, maybe it's my internet.
Oh, I think sometimes router doesn't resolve the Slack DNS, so it happens for me. Then I have to like reset my entire network, and then it starts working again. So,
Really?
yeah, it's pretty crazy with Slack.
I have not lived that experience in all my years of Slack, but maybe. And like Discord seems, I mean, there must be some kind of network. Oops, can you still hear me?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I accidentally locked my screen while I was trying to kill a process. Look like I have to kill Discord. So Ruth, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing good. I had
Sorry,
can you
go
hear
ahead.
me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, I've not been feeling so well, but
Oh, I'm sorry. Just allergies or like stomach or
yeah, so in this part of the world, we still have like malaria.
oh,
So
malaria sucks.
yeah, so down
Yeah.
for a few days.
Well, I am sorry. That is not the kind of thing that I like to hear that people have to encounter, although, it's not like one of my friends worked for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for a long time on their work to cure malaria. Obviously, they haven't accomplished that yet.
Yeah, like in this part of I don't know, because it's like it's more in like Nigeria, because like in other parts of Africa, they don't get to deal with that a lot. But here it's like very, very common, like very, very common. Like for me, I treat it every month.
Is it like a prophylactic treatment where you don't necessarily have malaria, but you take the drug to ensure that you don't get malaria?
So there's that part. Is like I've done prophylactic before sometimes when I notice I'm getting the symptoms, but this one just caught me by
Surprise.
yeah.
Con-
So,
Congratulations.
yeah. But yeah, I'm always done with my dose, so should get better by Monday.
Good.
So I wanted to ask how I think my major questions like explanation of how Augur works, like, and how Grimoirelab works, because I get to explain it sometimes, and I just explain, like, during Chaos Africa meetings, I just explain like top of my
Yeah.
head, and just say it helps you analyze stuff, like gives you analytics. But I think I would love to like know deep into what like Augur does and Grimoirelab.
Yeah, I think Drew could help you with that, but he's probably got hot plans for the evening. Sorry, Drew. For some reason this file is somewhat big. It's like 1,000 repos.
Oh,
And
okay.
you can just trim it down. You know what? Okay, let me back up and be a little less insane about this, Drew. Sorry. Hold on. I need to start drinking more coffee. This morning, I mean. Okay, I swear I put in. Maybe it was under here. Sorry, I feel pretty stupid at this point that it's taking me this long to upload a file on the internet. This seems like a basic part of my job description. To be able to do this effectively. But Discord, okay. All right. Control C. This should only be 100, which should be way easier. Okay, so Drew, one more thing I'm gonna just cover with you quick. So Discord I have found is a little bit weird. You expand this file and you see all these rows, it looks like you're at the end of it. You're not. You have to download it. And when you download it, there is a really wait a minute. I just want to make yeah, okay. All right, there's a okay. Let me sorry, I have to share a different part of my screen with you. I'll make this a bit smaller because it doesn't need to be this big. And then when we go, so essentially what you're doing, like you do with the fresh install of Augur, you've got your 7 repos, right?
Yep.
So the first, actually, there is a piece I versioning problem because I just created this script last night for testing. You need to run these 2 statements first. So you have to delete from repo groups. I'm just going to go back in there and All right. I have no idea why it puts two exact same copies of the same file in. Like, there's something weird happening with Discord, but now you'll have all of the right stuff that you need. Basically, you wanna, it won't work if you don't delete the default repos, and then it inserts all of these 100 repos, and it sets at the end the repo path and repo name to null. So then you can go collect on those repos with Facade. And honestly, this should just work. If it doesn't work, we have to figure out why. One thing I would check if I were you, we'll do the video recording and then we can probably troubleshoot it, and we'll set up some. Did you say 6 o'clock tomorrow or 7 o'clock tomorrow?
Anything works for me.
Well, it's Sunday, so let me give myself till 7.
Yeah, that was. I was like always reluctant to ask people to meet me on weekends because those are like.
Yeah, no, it's just, you know what? People just have more time to do things on weekends, and the places that they live and work expect less of them. I'm going to do this in a Google Meet conference because I've been having more luck with those for people with up and down internet connections lately for whatever reason. So I just sent you an invite for Augur tomorrow morning, Dhruv. Do a fresh install, try to run that script before you take off. See if it works. You know, chances are there's something else going on. We can figure it out. But in you know, all of my experience, and you're probably doing something I didn't do. All my experience is if I do a totally fresh install, a totally fresh virtual environment, upload repos, and hit go, everything runs. And you might want to, I guess this is the other thing. I have a bug that I have to fix with the Augur installation on the main branch. And maybe it's fixed automatically, but Go pushed a version that doesn't work. And so when we download when we download Go, it fails, which is nice. So that might be fixed. I can't say that it is or it isn't, but yesterday it wasn't working.
Okay.
Just beware. It's something you could probably work around manually, but I got a lot of Go compile errors yesterday that I hadn't ever gotten before.
Okay.
I didn't do it, and I didn't do anything with that because I'm like, this has never happened before. I feel like this is just a developer that made a mistake, and somebody's going to catch it before I go through the trouble of fixing it.
So as far as I remember, if we have already installed Go, it just skips that part, right?
Yeah, I think we added something that installs it every time, or maybe it's the maybe it's actually the OSSF scorecard. And now that I think of it, it is the scorecard that is problematic. Yeah. Hang on, I just pulled out my headphones. Yeah, when you clone the scorecard now, for some reason, it's not like there's something that they've done that messed it up. So if that fails on you, let me know, and I'll fix the script that, like, basically what I can do, what I think we could do is just I'm trying to say, I think I could just do a different version. You know, like I could hard code the version or the release of the program, the OSSF scorecard, and use that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I remember, when I wrote, like, during my Google Summer of Code, when I wrote that, I remember I'm not updating the scorecard thing. So once it's like cloned, so the next installation or the next rebuild, it just fixes it.
Yeah, I think, you know, in the series, I think I improved, quote unquote, what you did so that it would always be updating. And I think in the course of doing that, that's part of how it broke. And so I think, like we talked about earlier, we just want to freeze the version of OSF scorecard and never have it update without us having that be part of our plan, as opposed to going along with their plan. The other thing that you could do, if you felt like it, is you could do OSSF scorecard and just store a giant JSON object, and then it really wouldn't matter if it changed.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because the only thing that's, other than this thing that broke, which I think is just an anomaly, the only thing that really is wrong, which is kind of a big deal, is fields are in the wrong place. You know, because they changed the order of the JSON. And so, haha.
Yeah. So I think that would be like a small fix.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think so. I think so too. But we probably want to lock in the version of OSSF scorecard just to save ourselves from future pain that I think I probably caused. So yeah, if that's good for you, then I'm good. And I should probably, it would be good if I had a chance to talk to some of the other folks, and then we'll meet up tomorrow morning and sort through this.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Thank you so much, Drew. Sorry for taking so long to coordinate with me.
No, that's fine. It's nice catching up with you.
Likewise. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Yep.
Hi, Precious. Hi, Ruth. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, good. How are you? Hi.
All right, so this is this is Chaos Software, and I think Ruth, before you arrived, Precious, was asking, she gets a lot of questions about what's the difference between Chaos and Augur, for example, and how do I explain it to people, and that kind of thing. Is that, did I get that right, Precious?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, one thing might be helpful is to just go through what I have a perspective. My perspective is I spend most of my time most of my time in Augur, right? So, but I do have a pretty good understanding of Grimoirelab as well. So does it make sense for me to try to explain the differences?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So let me just get a work. I'm just gonna get a Google Doc set up for us to use so we can take notes, and we're recording already. I'm actually not sure why. It just seems to be auto recording lately, which is fine. Hang on, I'm making a Google Doc right now that we can share.
Okay, I was going to suggest if you want to stop the recording and start it again. Maybe that will work.
Oh, as opposed to not having people watch a bunch of dead air.
Yeah.
That's you know, there's some wisdom there. I am going to turn on a camera. Wrong one. Like operating a TV studio here. Okay. two related but not related things. I'm just gonna put them over somewhere else. Sorry. Give you a little time. What am I doing on the camera alignment? Not so great. Is that better?
Okay, this is, I think we can see the full board.
It's what?
Yeah, we can see the full board.
Okay, all right. It's kind of a weird angle, but
Yeah.
actually, sorry. I'm perfecting the science of my whiteboarding here.
Okay, this is a bit angle.
Pretty good, almost. I can almost see the whole thing if I tilt it down just a little bit. You can see the bottom probably. Oh, where? How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So I'm gonna write on one page. Augur. Grimoirelab. And so let me ask you, okay, so I have to keep remembering the cameras over here. Let me ask you a question first. When you're evaluating, like when you're trying to think of how you're going to, are we at, I'm babbling. Is the question more one along the lines of how do I use these tools and what distinguishes them from a curiosity perspective? Or is the perspective from a technical perspective where I want to understand kind of more deeply how each of them works and the relative strengths and weaknesses of them? What would you say is the motivation for, I mean, there's some of them are obvious, but motivation for people to want to understand the differences between the two tools?
I think both, but most especially like when people see like Augur does like analytics and then Grimoirelab also does same, right? And like what's the difference between the both of them, or and then people want to also deeply understand what does each of them do, like how can I contribute to Augur, how do I understand how it works, all those kind of questions. So I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah, but like we can start from the curiosity part and then maybe build into the technical part. Yeah.
Could you say that again, Precious?
Oh, like I agree with Bruce. I think it's like a mixture of both, but we can start from like the curiosity part and then like go into the technical.
Okay, cool. All right, I understand that. So go over the big stuff and then talk technical.
Yep.
Okay. And Ruth, just so you know, for some reason, Precious's microphone comes through super tinny for me, and I have deafness with tinny at that frequency, whatever it is. So sometimes I have to ask Precious to say it again. So sorry about that. I know it's annoying.
No problem.
I went to too many concerts as a young person. Okay, so I've got Augur and Grimoirelab. Let's just talk about the high level differences. Let's talk about technologies. Technologies matter only, they really matter, especially to early career people, because for two reasons. One, there's technologies that people are comfortable in. Two, there's technologies people want to learn. And three, there's technologies that just people don't want to learn, right? And so just kind of having a basic understanding of the technologies and even some of the strengths and weaknesses of each of them, I think can be helpful for understanding what's different about these products. And actually, I think they're both very strong, useful products, and they're just different. So let's talk about, can you read this okay, by the way? This whiteboard, is it, can you read?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can.
Okay,
It's
all right. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about what is the persistence is the database, right? But persistence is the nice fancy computer science word for it. So the persistence for Augur is a relational database. It's Postgres, although in a version that we're going to be releasing very shortly, it would be adaptable to anything. And I'll get to that in a minute. In Grimoirelab, do you know this already? Am I starting too basic?
No, this is perfect.
Okay.
Sean, I was going to ask if you want to make me co-host, in case someone is joining in.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that would be fantastic. Thank you. I think I can actually make you both co-host. All right. Well, actually, Ruth, I accidentally hit the wrong button, and now you're the host. So you can make Precious the co-host. I don't think I need
Okay.
to have any hosting capabilities. Is when you see host, is it still recording?
Yep, it's still recording.
Okay. Because when I changed I lose the ability to see if it's recording. Oddly enough. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's still recording.
you may or may not know the persistence layer for Grimoirelab is something called OpenSearch. It used to be Elasticsearch, right? And I don't know to what extent you're familiar, but two products that Grimoirelab relies on pretty extensively, they have participated in the open source community in a very generous way to help. So the company whatever company owns or controls Elasticsearch and Kibana decided they would change the license on it. So it was a commercial product, which had a very, disruptive effect on everybody who relied on those technologies. And Grimoirelab has been very generous and involved in fixing the issues with those changes. Essentially what OpenSearch is, does anyone remember when Oracle purchased MySQL and the MariaDB engine came about?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I know. I
So
know it.
the story is, so Oracle's a big database company, obviously, and MySQL was a very popular open source database. Oracle bought MySQL. Open source people did not like that, and so they took a fork of MySQL at the current time, and they created MariaDB. And MariaDB is much stronger, more robust than MySQL now, but the fundamental architecture is the same. In fact, the database drivers are the same, so you can talk with them interchangeably. Today, that wasn't initially the case. And the same kind of thing is happening with this Elasticsearch, OpenSearch, and also Kibana, which is not persistence technology. So the first thing to know about Augur and Grimoirelab is they do use different persistence technologies, for storing data. And then the next big difference is, I think, our application architecture. So in Augur, for the most part, we have a single repo. There's a few exceptions to that because we have a repo of Jupyter notebooks, we have a repo for licensing, and we have a repo for the new Augur view, which is the new front end. And that's so, but it's mostly a single repo. This isn't, and again, there is no judgment. Like, these are just two different styles of building apps. You have multiple specialized repos in Grimoirelab. So you've probably experienced, how many of you have tried to install Grimoirelab?
I haven't tried before.
Okay. The one thing I will say is they do have very good documentation for installing it. None of these projects are like you sit down at your computer and it's like installing Instagram or something, right? It's a bit more involved than that. But there's very good documentation for Grimoirelab about how it works and how to install it and do a proof of concept with it. The multiple specialized repos means you just have to figure out, well, and you use the docs and you figure out, well, what are the repos I need? Ones that you most always need are Percival, Grimoirelab itself, and by the way, I'll run this by Daniel, so if I get this completely wrong, I don't think I will, but so what Percival does is Percival is the data gathering piece of Grimoirelab. So I apologize if you already knew that. Grimoirelab is kind of the core, and then there's something called SIG ILS. So SIG ILS I'm gonna get a different color. Blue is our user interface. It's not the only one, but SIG ILS is where the user interface exists for Grimoirelab. I suppose similarly, it's probably important for me to point out that Augur has a built-in view.js front end. It has a new front end called Augur View, which is under Augur Labs right now. And just so you know, our philosophy when we build something new, we don't put it in the chaos repository until it is until we think it's mature enough that we can afford to support it. So when we're building something new and we already know there's 10 things we need to fix, it slows everybody down and frustrates people who want to try it because it doesn't work well enough for them to try it. And they're trying it and it not working generates a lot of issues for us to address. And so when we're developing something initially, we'll keep it in a less public, easily findable place so that we can just work on getting it to a point where we can release it without having to support it at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And then finally, there's a project called this is not a chaos project, San Diego-RH/Explorer. Augur View is Okay, so I'm just gonna make a note. I'm gonna make a note here of the technologies because we have a lot of them. The built-in Vue.js is pretty straightforward. Augur View is Twitter Bootstrap. And we chose Twitter Bootstrap for that because Twitter Bootstrap involves a lot less JavaScript. And JavaScript, as it turns out over time, is kind of expensive to maintain. And then San Diego Explorer uses something called Dash Plotly. And this is it's actually an industry-wide project, and this is just Red Hat's fork of it that they're using, and they're actually developing against an Augur database. And they have some pretty cool visualizations that I can share with you. And then SIGLS, the really important thing to understand about SIGLS. Oh, and then one more thing. There's Augur community reports.
Sean, I have a question.
Yeah.
So on the chaos website, so there's under I think there's something community reports. Was it Augur that was generating those community reports?
Yeah, I think well, I'm not positive. I think at one time there was a community reports repository.
Yeah, it's like under chaos initiatives, I think.
Yeah, I think that comes from Augur community reports. I'm not 100% positive though. Over the course of the last 5 years, and especially since we've had Elizabeth with us, I haven't. Well, before Elizabeth started working with us, it was difficult enough to keep track of everything. And now with Elizabeth on our team, I don't have to worry about keeping track of everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm almost positive that the community reports were the Augur community reports.
Yeah, I see there's a form in here, like I think there's a form where people can kind of like submit a request for community health reports.
Oh, I think that might actually be old content. Can you shoot a link real quick?
Yeah, I'm going to, should I share my screen and show you what I'm seeing?
Yeah, let me unshare mine for us. I'm not sure. I'm using a camera, so okay, yeah, you can share your, please share your screen.
Okay. So this is, I went to
Oh yeah, okay.
under chaos initiatives, community health reports.
We should open an issue in the community repo, or in the website repo, or you could also message Kevin Lombard. That used to be something that we did. And
Yeah.
we don't anymore. And the reason that we don't is because a lot of times people were asking us, first of all, it's pretty labor intensive to build one report. And these were replaced by the Augur community reports effectively. And then the other thing that was also a Cauldron also served the same purpose. So we had two different ways of chaos providing this kind of information. And then the third thing that happened is with the emergence of the metrics model working group, increasingly we have the capacity to just basically, this was like, we would build a report. It was almost like it had graphics like it would from Grimoirelab and Augur, but we did some graphic design using one of those Adobe products that's not my wheelhouse to make it look real pretty, and it was very infographic like, and so it presented very nicely, unlike a standard dashboard might. But it's still on the website, so I suppose we technically haven't abandoned it, but I have not heard a request for a report like this in, gosh, I want to say a year.
Okay, I think we might get off then.
So the other thing, so one thing is, if you said to Kevin or opened an issue or whatever, it would probably just get closed. if you see this approach of having people ask us for things as having some value that maybe should be revisited, then I would encourage you to bring it up at a community meeting.
Okay, I think I'll bring it up with Elizabeth or even Kevin, maybe in the next web content. We
Yeah.
have one next week.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. My thinking is that this is probably just something we won't do anymore, but I can also, what's nice about it is it's a forum on our website where people can ask for things. And, it's a valid recruiting tool. Not recruiting, but it helps. What the reports do, or what the more advanced or improved versions can do, is what I'm finding increasingly is people don't come to, at the beginning, people came to CHAOSS because metrics definitions themselves were extremely valuable, because there were arguments in open source software about what is a commit, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yeah. And literally, I spent 3 months of my first 3 months on CHAOSS just not debating, because I don't really care. I care about it being consistent, so that when we say this has this commits and this other project has these other commits, we're talking about the same way of counting, right? But there are people who feel quite strongly about how the counting should happen. And so that's certainly been a part of our life on CHAOSS. Should I keep
Yeah.
going? Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But I think if this is still here and we don't do it, that means people would start submitting requests. So I mean checking with Kevin to maybe take it off the website for the meantime.
Yeah, I think we're on a trajectory with some resources that have been made available to us to actually have hosted instances of stuff, so that people could do this on their own. So, but I think the question should be raised 100%. 100%.
Yeah, you can continue. Let me stop share so you can.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So application architecture, Percival does the data gathering. And there's many other components, things like Sorting Hat does contributor resolution. Then there are many other components that are explained in the docs, and because I'm definitely more of an expert in Grimoirelab than I once was. I still know less about it than I do about Augur. So in the case of Augur, or in the case, one thing really important to note about SIGELs is that there are 67 dashboards. So one of the things Augur doesn't have built out is, I would say, for the Twitter Bootstrap front end, we have 12. For Dash Plotly, there are 4. For Jupyter Lab, there are 11 total dashboards. So they're fewer and they're spread out. Just okay. So as a way of just thinking about things. Okay. Persistence. Another thing I should mention about persistence that's different, and this comes into play when you're trying to do analysis. So there's 2 values that I've sort of kept part of Augur from the beginning. The first is that being able to prove the provenance of your data is critical, as well as the accuracy of your data. Proving that, being able to prove it is critical, and also being able to query it with common tools, which is related to the first 2 points, is important. That's why we really use a relational a relational database. And one of the things to know about the relational DB is it's atomic, which means that you don't ever lose transactions. It's structured, and lots of people know SQL, right? With Elasticsearch, it's entirely JSON. And it's this, the structure is I would characterize, and people can disagree with me, but the structure of JSON is opaque. And it just is. Do you know what I mean by that? It's kind of a weird English word. By opaque, do you know what I mean?
Generally, but like in the context of Elasticsearch, I'm not sure how it
So,
applies.
so if you have a giant collection of JSON that's difficult to read, you can query it. The relationships, if you have multiple entities that you're trying to connect for determining or answering a question, how that structure exists is not intuitive. It's not as intuitive as a grid, which is basically what a relational database is. So there's a set of, there's a barrier of knowledge that you need. You have to have a certain level of programming knowledge to get data out of a JSON structure. Does that make sense? And to a large extent, Sigils does sort of put a front end in front of that, which is good. And so the key technology differences, which are key differences, are the persistence layer, application architecture, how data is presented, how it's collected, that kind of thing, and the different ways that you can view it. One thing I'll say about Augur, and one of the reasons we built it the way that we did, is because this enables verifiability.
Sean, that marker is not clear, like that particular marker you're using.
It's not clear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is pretty light. Sorry. Grab a darker one.
Yeah, that's better.
So it enables verifiability with platform metadata. So what that means is we have at a very, very detailed level, we have a table called repo info in Augur, and we collect pull requests and issues and commits and all of the related things around them, like contributors. And we can then look at GitHub as an API it'll tell you how many of everything, like forks, everything is associated, how many each repository has. And so we populate a table called repo info, and then we check if our data collection is complete. It seems pretty straightforward. It's a lot harder to do with JSON store, because the data is, the little itty bitty pieces of data are in these giant strings that are stored in the database. So it's not as efficient and it takes longer, in short. And it's, I haven't tested it, so I don't know how reliable it is. I just trust this completely because I've done it in other projects before. And then, so these are I think these are the main technology differences between the two products. So I guess the next question is, how do you get reports out of them?
Yeah.
So, and what are the questions that you want to ask? In generally speaking, all of the basic questions that you want to ask are in every single one of both Grimoirelab and Augur enable you to answer whatever question about open source chaos metrics that you want to answer. Augur has several components. I would say one technology that Augur has that Grimoirelab doesn't, that is helpful, is a RESTful API. So a lot of like when we work with Twitter and Spotify, they wanted to create their own dashboards because they used it for branding purposes. And so all we did was we stood up the back end, and then they built their own front end for it so that they could display it in a way that aligned with their brand, because they're both software companies, they're both open source software companies, and branding their metrics and the health of their communities in the same way they brand everything else was important to them. So the RESTful API that Augur has is valuable for companies that are doing that kind of thing. Just as an aside, what questions do you have? I'm trying to explain it, and I'm trying to think of all the things I should explain. Is how are we doing? Is this sufficient? Do you want me to keep going? Do you want to stop and talk about something else?
Yeah, so okay, I think I have a at this point.
You're what?
This like I have a question, but
Yeah.
this has been really helpful, like explaining the different technologies and deep into how it was built. So the question I have is one, does Augur have like a cloud running instance, right? And secondly, if I have, say for example, like a typical example, I own an open source project that has like a community, and I want to analyze, my repo and my community health using Augur. How do I get started with it? What kind of questions do I need to have? Are they going to be in line with chaos metrics, or like how would you work with Augur, or how would you work with like Grimoirelab?
So I think Augur and Grimoirelab have roughly equivalent mappings of the chaos metrics into their tools. We keep them in different places from a presentation perspective, but you can answer every chaos metric is within Augur and Grimoirelab. At the very beginning, like in the first 2 years of the project, we were very attentive to ensuring that every page or API call linked directly to the chaos metric. We stopped doing that because chaos kept changing the URLs where the metrics were displayed. And honestly, this web project is changing them again. So we want to have so the direct line can be visible, and we just need the chaos organization to commit to where those endpoints will be.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay.
So the reason you don't like look at either tool and see this is the chaos metric is because of that.
Okay. So at this point, what works with if I have an open source project and I want to use Augur, how do I make Augur work for me? Like, do I need to run it on my local machine, or is there like a cloud instance where I plug in my repository and it gives me the analytics and that data?
There is a Docker. So there's two Let me ask you a question. How urgent is your need?
Like, say 90%. Like, I
No,
really need and
you need
I
it,
need to do analytics.
you need it right away.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's two ways to get it right away. The fastest, most reliable way is to send me a list of the repos or GitHub organizations for which you want metrics, and I'll generate them. And if you send me a list of the metrics, the specific things that you're looking at, I can make sure that I point you in those directions. That's the shortest path to having something to show people. Setting it up is really an equally short path, but there's a learning curve, just like there would be with any piece of software. The learning curve for Augur is significantly shorter than it used to be. And I think during the summer of code, I've seen that people are starting to pick up Augur faster than they're picking up Grimoirelab, probably because honestly, the Grimoirelab folks have had to deal with all of the Elasticsearch Kibana crap this summer. But so the fact that Augur may be a little bit faster to set up today is short term, right? I mean, Grimoirelab does have a company behind it with Bitergia, and Augur has a lot of contributors behind it, and we have sponsorships from Red Hat and Mozilla and Firefox and GitHub, but we don't have a company, right? So there's that. Doesn't make the software any more or less reliable, honestly. It's just that some people, when they're, depending if you're purchasing it, people feel more comfortable. However, if you want to purchase Augur, I'd be happy to sell you it, or sell you some nominal service agreement so that you can get what you need. But that said, the offer is, if you've got like some set of repos you want analysis for, I can set that up for you and just run it. That's the fastest way right now. In 3 months, probably within a month and a half, the new version of Augur will be released and everything will be so much simpler, it will blow your mind. But right now, we're still working through a couple of bugs. And they're not they're not data bugs either. It's a bug with a piece of software called Celery that because we gather data so fast from so many places, we're overloading it. And so we just need to hone our Celery configuration.
That's interesting.
Sean,
Yeah, Precious, don't go ahead.
okay. I'm pretty sure there are maybe demo softwares or something that we can use to see what this looks like in real time.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't have to be a real okay.
Yeah, let me show you. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to calendar like you care. Okay. So this is one interface. This is essentially, so this interface this is the Augur view, the Twitter Bootstrap interface, and I can maybe I should just put these. Should I put these in? I feel I'm always reluctant to put anything into the Zoom channel because it goes away. And so my inclination is to put things in a Slack channel, because then you can go back to them, and I would just put them in the Augur Slack channel.
Yeah, I can put it in Slack channel.
Yeah,
And I have never seen this before, the UI. This is my first time seeing it.
So this would be the case where we are not promoting it because we're not quite ready to support it, though we're getting there. Let me see here, Augur. And I'm going to create a thread here.
Maybe we want to do like a demo with the community, chaos community repo. Because there have been some activity going on that repo, so maybe we might want to try one.
I'm just typing in here for. So this is focused on what's called newcomer. So in the course of working with chaos, obviously you work with people and you learn what they want. And pull request acceptance rates and speed are two metrics that have been of interest because they kind of reflect how good you are at retaining people. And then of course, newcomer retention. And so if you click this, what these actually are is these are, and not everything has enough data in every repo. So what all of these images are, these are actually endpoints generated by Augur's API and saved as images on the server and presented to you. So that way they're super fast, easily downloadable, that kind of thing. And so this is all of the first time contributors for Augur. And then for these quarters, so it goes back to January of 2021. And then these are all of the repeat first time contributors, not terrible numbers. These are they're supposed to be flyby, but I haven't changed this one graphic. We call it flyby down here, but we haven't called it flyby there, per quarter. And then these are all the second time contributors per quarter. So the difference here is the top graph shows repeat contributors who have made 4 or more contributions in the last year, which is the specified time frame. So new contributors are individuals who make their first contribution in that time period. You can parameterize what that threshold is. We went with 4 as a heuristic because 2 doesn't really demonstrate a repeat contributor, but if you get to 4, there's certainly more of a long-term engagement. And then these second time contributors are people who had made their first time contribution at some point in the project's history and made a second contribution during these quarters. So overall, like if I'm looking at Augur, I'm not displeased with that report, right? It's not a terrible result.
Yeah.
The other kinds of reports you can see here, this is one I particularly liked, is just ratio of the flyby and the repeat contributors. And if we get out of the pull request reports, this one's really interesting because I think it's kind of a truth bomb, this graphic in particular, because so we've separated the slowest 20% to be merged and accepted. And what we know about the slowest 20% to be merged and accepted is they tend to be the largest pull requests, if that makes sense. So like the more code, the more commits are involved in the pull request, the longer it takes to get merged. And anecdotally, in many cases, it also is less likely to be merged. And so here's a look at all of them. The purple-ish bars are all merged, all not merged, and rejected, all merged and accepted. In this particular project, there were 337 total merged pull requests. 68 of them are rejected, and 269 of them were accepted. It's not a bad ratio, but it's something on the order of 5 to 1 ballpark. Here, it's more like 2.5 to 1. So not accepted is much. The rate of acceptance is much lower on the longer running pull requests as we would typically expect. But projects have demonstrated over time a desire to see that kind of information. The other thing that you can do is the reports can be configured to, like one way that we did this report at one point, this is a heat map of the mean duration days of all closed pull requests. And you can see we've got a big red spot that emerged, not merged here. The merged ones get merged fast. We've gotten a lot of like unmerged ones that I've left open for different reasons. It's kind of a change in practice. But when you can take like your project and then maybe 4 projects that you're competing against, and you can look at the relative health of each with this one. Is that enough
Yeah.
to see
This makes-
there?
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Like it's really, yeah. One question. Okay, the questions I have is, sorry, I'm asking so many questions.
That's the whole point of this, so go for it.
Yeah, so like is when you plug in, so if I'm correct, you plug in the repository on this UI and then it generates those reports for you. Does it generate the images as well? Or how does that work?
So the way that the images are generated is, this is, talking to the back end of Augur, which is the part that gathers the data and presents the API. And we have actually developed a set of, I believe it's a dozen APIs that actually generate a graphic instead of a JSON response. And so this particular interface to Augur is showing you endpoints that are generating an SVG or PNG, I can't remember, and instead of a JSON object, although I think we're going to also generate a JSON object at some point. And the entire purpose of that is to make them honestly prettier and faster. Because when you get into
Yeah, more interpretable too.
Yeah, like, and they happen to be things that are in direct response to questions that Augur users have asked.
Okay. How long does it take? What's like the time? Like if I put it like, what's the response time to generate the reports?
So if I think you can kind of see. It takes like a few seconds, and then I click on it and it comes up. So not super long. If by reports you mean each of the individual graphics by repo.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask if you could do a sample with one of the repos on Chaos.
Yeah, you like
Demo.
there's a bunch. Did I put this link in Slack, right?
Let me see. Let me check.
Pretty sure.
I found, so this link actually doesn't work for me. I don't know, it died.
Yeah, also same here. It doesn't work for me.
new.augurlabs.io is not working for you?
It's giving
Yeah.
the sample cannot be reached.
Yeah, that's true. I think you just need to check it out.
You're saying it can't be reached.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it just lookout? Or is it not just lookout?
Okay, that's weird. Can't be reached. Does it give any specific error message?
No, like normal disconnected messages. Like you refuse to connect.
Is it not resolving the domain name?
This site can be reached. You don't over the overlaps. I refuse to connect. Like the normal connect message for.
So I'm not using HTTPS. Make sure that your browser is not automatically adding HTTPS. That's on our roadmap to get that implemented.
Yeah, it's not automatically adding for me. Do you want me to share my screen on?
Yeah, share your screen. I'm
Okay.
quite curious.
So this is
Of course, is unusual. I mean, the only thing I can. Do you have a different browser on your machine by chance?
I do have Brave. Let me see.
Let's try Wave. I'm wondering if there's
Try Safari.
some kind of security setting, like where it's not letting you get access to it.
I use.
Let me try Safari. I do have Safari and Brave.
Let me see.
I did
So
check
you
it out.
what? It works on Safari actually.
It works on
I
Safari.
think it, yeah, I
Okay.
think Chrome automatically adds an S.
Yeah, I need to move those over to be HTTPS servers. Do you want to see some of the other interfaces?
Yep. Yeah, you can continue sharing. Let me try loading on Safari.
All right. I'm just gonna grab.
Okay, yeah, it worked for me.
Okay, good. That's good news. That makes life a little bit easier. For
Okay, I
them.
have to check my one out.
So Juan,
Yeah.
so I do not have to clone or download this for Augur to work for me. Like I'm trying to register.
Like this page works. Like this page is up. You don't have to run Augur yourself to get the data. No.
Or log in. Do I have to log in?
No, so at some point we will, and the intention of the login is not to prevent access to the data. The intention of the login will be that you say you make you indicate which repositories you care about, and then every time you log in, you can see just those repositories, as opposed to like 100,000 repositories. So you can just keep,
How do I?
it's really about personalization. It's not about anything else.
Okay. How do I add a repository? Like, do I have permissions to add?
Not yet,
Oh, I see.
but that's coming. Let me just see if I can fire up one.
Okay, you're not sharing your screen.
Oh yeah, let me just I'm gonna just give me 1 second here. Let's see if I can share my screen. What do I want? Okay.
I just tried it on Chrome again. It works on Chrome actually.
You're bigger than like.
How did? Oh wow.
Yeah,
Did
I
you?
just tried it again. It works on Chrome.
Okay. Did you remove the HTTPS thing?
I just opened the link directly and it just opened the page.
Oh wow.
Is this on your phone?
Yeah, on my phone, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me
Does
check.
that make any difference, Precious?
I think so. And
I want to try.
they,
Let me try.
I think
Okay, let me try my
they
phone.
have kind of I
Don't-
don't really know.
My phone default browser is Safari though. Let me try on Chrome. Sure, nice to hear.
So I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay, I'm trying I don't think I have Chrome on my phone.
Well, I'm sure you could download that.
Yeah, let me just download it. My automatic browser is Safari on my phone.
All right. I think it works. It works for me actually.
On your phone, right?
Yeah, it does on my phone. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the HTTPS stuff is the issue for that. Maybe
The
just
browser.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
It
yeah.
is.
Okay, Sean, you could share your screen. I'm trying to download Chrome.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm actually, I was starting up wanted to show you the new configuration design that we're in the process of developing. And I can do that now. Sharing screen. So this is Augur View. This is the same piece of software that we looked at a minute ago, but this is what the first time setup is going to look like. So instead of having to do everything at the command line, when you start Augur, you're going to be prompted to fill in some of this information. In almost all cases, you will leave everything the way that it is. The only thing that you're likely to change is this API URL, because you'll probably have a subdomain or a domain that is hosted through Nginx that serves up Augur, and you'll want to configure it to point there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll provide more context around this, but essentially you'll be able to clone Augur, and then you'll be able to come to this screen and perform all of the essential configuration steps.
Okay. Okay. So
So was that answering your question, or did I go sideways?
yeah, it answered my question. Like for now, we can like add repos, and that's coming soon.
Yeah, so the add repo part here, so when I fill this in, and these defaults work, so I can just hit restart. When I fill this in, I can click repos, table view, card view. I can log in. I guess I have to register. All right. Yeah, we haven't put during development, HTTPS is not super easy. Hang on, let me my last pass. I think I do have maybe I don't have a username on the server. I want to register. All right, well, I guess I can't log in. Total bummer. I was able to log in yesterday, but on a different server. All right, let me try a different browser. So one of the things that could be happening here is that the server I'm accessing is like down here on the floor next to me. So sometimes domain name resolution doesn't work as beautifully as I want it to work. Okay. Really, all right. Well, it's not. It is not letting me. Test user. I feel like. Hang on. I'm gonna. This is starting to annoy me. No, all right. I'm sorry, I can't show you that right now. But this screen, once I'm able to log in, lets me add repositories to it and does a pretty nice job of it. It also lets me add users, and it lets me manage collection of data, so I can increase or decrease the frequency of collection a lot. So this gives you a lot of administrative control of what you're trying to do, and it also provides some nice and I don't want to say rudimentary, but some very useful stuff. It gives you some very useful. I mean, it gives you lots of utilities, so you can basically run your own Augur instance, add repos, delete repos. Although delete repos usually just end up getting retired. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does answer my question. I think a last question I have is, because we do get like a lot of like beginners like come and ask questions like that write Python. How what what's the easiest way they can get involved with Augur? Like what would be the path for them?
So the basically developers who are starting out, paths for getting engaged in Augur.
Yeah, like getting engaged and kind of starting up Augur.
So I'm going to come back to the question that I asked earlier. For those people, so for your use case where you'd like to see some Augur statistics, is what I showed you enough, or do you want to send me a list of repos or GitHub orgs and I can give you your own on Augur instance for that?
Yeah, that was just an example. I did not have project. I was just making an
Okay.
example.
So all right. So you've got a little bit of a little bit of info.
Yeah, this was actually eye-opening because like I got to understand how it works and look at the reports as well. Like the reports give me more insight on how it works. So I think the other way is to like help people that come into Chaos Africa to understand how to, start up Augur, maybe run it on their local system and how they can also participate and contribute.
Yeah.
Like the easiest way for them.
Are the folks who you're working with in Chaos Africa, are they mostly people that are working and want to learn about Augur, or are there a lot of students? What is the nature of the folks that you're working with?
Yeah, there are mostly people that are in between beginners and they write Python, probably like they write it for like data science or even some that do like development, but I would still categorize them in, building projects on their own and even for beginners as well. Like I think a couple of beginners still coming.
Okay, so I mean, one thing we could do is we could set up like a regular tutoring session, or like almost, I don't want to say a class because that seems more formal, but what would like a meetup or something like that be a good way to get involved, where we organized some activities and had them able to go?
Yeah, I think one thing we might be able to do is probably run a workshop to set up Augur like locally for people that are interested. I think that would work, and then maybe put out like a list of new contributions they can make to Augur, like for people that write Python.
Okay.
Yeah, I would get a list of people interested like that write Python, and then maybe we can work on a particular time or maybe during one of the Chaos Africa meetings.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly, I'm certainly happy to workshop this if there's a place where people will be, where like a half-day workshop would be good, or if I'd like to say that I would build a video tutorial or whatever. It's obvious.
Yeah, we can also record it though. Like we can have it recorded and maybe on the YouTube so that other people like can go back, to it and
Yeah.
rewatch.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Ruth. I think a video is a great idea. Maybe whenever we're having a call, we can video the particular set of that call and give it on YouTube. so that people that want to contribute, we just go there and watch the video, because I think we have a lot of people coming into KS Africa, and if they're coming into, we don't want to go back again to start from the beginning to explain it from the beginning. So we just need to allow them to go and make the research on their own and know how to contribute to Augur.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. I think there's a couple other interfaces real briefly that I can show you that you might find interesting. So for the, let's, I guess, put a pin in that and maybe set up like a session focused on Chaos Africa and answering those questions. But also, I think a little bit farther down the road about facilitating a workshop, like a hackathon virtually for now, and then like as a second phase, and then maybe think a little, like we can get people started quickly with like a 2 or 3 hour session like this, where we focus on just getting up to speed with Augur, and we can get even deeper engagement and sort of helping people to the next level of mastery if down the road in the next, say, 12 months, there's some event, hackathon, where some Augur folks come and Chaos folks come and actually work with folks. And then I think in the meantime, throughout the whole process, there can be asynchronous work where we do a better job of articulating our roadmap, which exists in our head but is not written down anywhere very well. So roadmap, videos, that sort of thing. So I hear that. Do you want to see a few more of these interfaces, or should we move on to another topic?
Yeah, we can see we can look at the interfaces and then move on.
Yeah, let me just best thing to do.
San Diego Explorer. I think I saw one YouTube video one time on Augur channel.
Yeah, that certainly could be. Okay. And then this one is all right. So the San Diego project is what I have up right now, and so 3 scale is just their default. It's in demo mode. They're going to launch it at OSS Summit EU. And they're working on, there's a slight performance issue that relates to the fact that they have all of their data in North Carolina and are running the front end off of an EC2 instance in San Francisco for reasons that I simply cannot comprehend. What I like about this interface is this time scrolling. Like if you're in visualizations, like you can see trends over time, you can shrink the window, you can grow the window, you can drop back to year, you can look at day, which probably would be an insane number of lines. But it doesn't even, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Does this one allow you put in like the repository? This one is very like
Yeah,
informative.
it's a little less intuitive in my opinion, but name a repository you're interested in.
Yeah, could you send the link to this one?
What?
Could you send the link of this?
Oh, I believe I put it in Slack, but maybe I did not. Yeah, it's in Slack. It's the last. So I created a thread in the Augur channel at the bottom, and it just says thread on software with 3 replies.
Okay, it seems I saw that. Let me check it out.
So instead of having like filling the channel with all these chats, I created a thread for them. Did you find it, Ruth?
Yeah, I'm checking now. I wasn't opening Slack.
Okay. So if you can think of like I'm sure Kubernetes is in here. So
If any questions, just drop the link on the Slack channel.
say it again.
Can we check that one? I suggested a repo we can check. Did you hear me?
Yeah, check the link in Slack.
Hmm.
Oh,
Sure.
okay. So I see outreachy. Sean, can you? Oh, try that. I see. Try this repo. Okay, so that is an
Sure.
org.
The link is in Slack is just opening the one you just showed, the one you just opened before that we're
Yeah.
having difficulty. That's repo interface. That is where it's opening.
Like this.
No. It's the one. The one in the background is purple.
This one or this one.
No. Yeah. That's one.
Yeah. And what about it?
I thought you will want to share the link to the one you just opened. You are checking dates and the day, time, the trends for the date and time.
Dates and times. Do you mean this one? Or I can.
The last one you were on before we asked for the link. Yes, that one. Yes, that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so the statistics are all going to be by repository. So within Outreach, is there a specific repository? Should we look at website?
Yeah, maybe we can check websites because that one will be the popular one.
Yeah. So let me just so first of all, the data has to be in here. And it looks like that repo isn't in here. It can be added. So for example, we could go to this is Outreachy, and I could add it, but it would take a while to collect. So let's just look at, if it's okay, we'll look at the OpenShift Outreachy repo and the overview. You can see here that the level of activity is highly sporadic, and this hasn't existed for a long time. Not much there, not much there. And so, yeah, since I don't have it can be added, but I don't have the data for it. Maybe let's try, is there another one that you might be interested in?
Maybe let's try the community report for chaos.
I don't have that in there either. What about, I wonder if badging wouldn't be in there. What about Fedora?
Yeah, maybe let's check with her. Can you search layer 5? I think maybe or
Spell that.
layer, like LAYER then 5.
LEYER.
No, LA.
Layer 5.
Yep. Oh, it's not there either.
Yeah. Sorry. So this is
So what's the
this is Red
so
Hat
this-
centric.
yeah. Yeah, so this is San Diego is owned by Red Hat.
It's a project they contribute to, and this particular instance of San Diego's Explorer is Red Hat repositories. So, like if we were to go to, like I would guess SE Linux would have some data on it. All right, well that's better than, yeah, and then it's so number of issues over time, commits over time generating. new contributors by month, contributor growth, and engagement. So yeah, you can get nearly any repository that's in the Red Hat universe here, but this is the kind of thing that we want to make available, of course, for other repositories. And the sort of the approach that we have in mind is you would have repositories that you're interested in, you would list them and load them, and you would use an interface that would be prettier than this, where you provide, it'd be behind a login, but right now we use a database key, and you can simply just take an organization, like just write in the GitHub organization name, and it'll import all the repos. Or you can create a new repo group name, create it, and then you'll, like, once it's created, you can get a chance to create a comma separated list of the URLs that you want to track.
Yeah, this is really nice. Like, and yeah, I can't wait for the new version of Augur to be out. I think it's going to be more easier to
Yeah,
navigate. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
I have to drop off in a
sure, I
sec.
mean, this is not a prison sentence, so nobody has to feel obligated to stay.
Yeah, I'll connect it when I get like people that want to sign up like the session.
Okay. Yeah, I think Ruth, if you could help me coordinate a good time for that,
Yeah, sure.
that would be helpful. The week of, not next week, I am here. The week after that, I'm in Rochester, New York for a open source program office thing for universities, and I'm home the week after that. But most of the world, so I'm home the week that everybody else is in Europe because I broke my foot in 4 places.
Yeah, I had that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the funny thing is it doesn't hurt that much when I don't walk. It's like not causing me any like constant pain or anything. It's just when it's like if I walk for like 5,000 or 6,000 steps, I'm fine. If I walk like a long day, my next day it hurts a lot. So my doctor's like, you just need to get it fixed before the bones heal in all kinds of weird ways that make it hard to walk for your rest of your life. So
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom.
yeah, but thank you for thank you for your empathy. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you know. Like, I'll definitely check in with you when I get like people that like ready to install, and definitely I would love to run Augur like on my local as well soon.
Yeah, for sure. And if you have hackathons and you want to bring people from Chaos, I would be happy to work with you on that, even if it's not me.
Sure.
I mean, I'd love to come, but even if it's not me, even if it's like doing some virtual trainings with your folks to run it, we can do that too. Whatever structure works out. So
Okay, I'll let you know.
yeah, because
I'm
my
gonna
experience is like when you get a group of people together to hack, they can start to answer their own questions because everybody has the same like, why does it do this question? And
yeah.
it makes it go faster if you can get like at least 3 or 4 people together in a room working it. So just a thought. I'll let you go now, Ruth. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, Ruth.
Bye, Ruth. I got Precious and Ali are still here, and I'm gonna.
It's the light, not Ali. Sorry, I was a Zoom mistake. It's the
Sorry,
light.
I can't quite say that again.
I said it's the light, not Ali Conrad. It's the light.
You're just here to kind of observe. Oops. On camera. Now I'm back. Hi, Precious. We talked earlier.
Hi, Tom.
Did you want to talk some more, or just hanging out for now?
Oh, no, actually, I think I'm exhausted my bandwidth.
You said you're hanging with your family?
No, I think I have exhausted my bandwidth. So I'll probably read about what I already know and try to explore the links that you send personally.
Yeah, and then I think we have some time set up to work through this a little bit more.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. How about you, Ali? are there things you want to talk about or look at?
Actually, no, but I would really like to appreciate you guys. You did a great job in the new version, the demo version, the one you wanted to, you're going to release very soon. I saw the interface and the interface is really nice. I really appreciate that.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you're happy with that. Did you want me to show you more about it? Maybe I misunderstood.
Maybe some other time, I'll go through it by myself. I'll just go and see the one from the link you sent to me. I'm going to look at it, then know more about it.
So if you want to, I'll just give you a little pointer. If you want to get into this interface, once you install Augur, you need to install, this comes in a container.
Okay.
It comes in, it's the Augur face container. There are 4 containers Docker containers that are automatically built on GitHub for Augur, and this particular interface comes with the Augur face container, just so you know.
Okay. I was even thinking before, is after you are logged in, you can get that interface, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you have any trouble, then message in Slack or open an issue, and we can set up some time to work through that.
Sure, I will do that. Okay.
All right.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
No, thank you.
Since the meeting is ended, okay.
Talk to you soon.
We're going to see that. Yeah, we're going to see at other meetings. The next call, maybe that should be on Tuesday.
Yes, there is a let's see, let me just check. Get a little turned around. Yeah.
Okay, so bye everyone. Bye, Precious.
Yeah,
Bye, Shane.
There's a next.
Bye, Sean.
Yeah, goodbye.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the next call is on Tuesday the 30th. That's correct.
Yes.
Bye, Sean.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, later, everybody.